Good evening, folks. Today we're going to take a very touchy subject, so I'll jump right into it. And the topic for today is India's language wars and the hypocrisy of our nation. Right. The last few months, I've seen heightened fracas over language, a lot of fights, fanaticism, and a little bit of chauvinism in many states. We'll come to that on which states at least. In general, we say we are proud of our diversity, the unity in diversity, etc. But I think it's all a load of BS, nothing more than that. The language seems to be dividing us more and more rather than actually uniting us. Don't you guys think so? A language was supposed to be about communication, about expression, about culture. That's it. That's what it was about. But in India, they've become more of a ego, politics, and showmanship, and having more and more identity politics and conflicts. That's what has come to. The key part that I've observed is that in these fights between within the state, the people who are largely targeted are the common men, right? The people who work in post offices, railways, the people who drive to work, who just want to do their bit and go back home. How about all the IAS and IPS officers, collectors, districts, magistrates, and other people who are deputed to the state, or even, for example, governor? I don't know if Karnataka's governor, Honorable Gaylord, speaks Kannada. I don't know. Is he forced to learn? I'm not very sure. This must be the case in every other state, not necessarily Karnataka, where I'm living right now. Right? Do they all necessarily learn the state language? We are not very sure. Often I see, Tamil people or southern people mocking Hindi. Hindi speakers are different legal together. They mock every South Indian language. And Northeast people are not even considered as part of our country. In fact, we call them Chinkies, for example, right? And imagine how hurt they must be when people say, "Oh, are you from China?" In many cases, you would find Hindi-speaking population making fun of South Indian languages by saying, "Hey, what is this jalebi?" In fact, for them, all South Indian languages are a jalebi. That's a different matter. They don't even know the difference in terms of the scripts, right? For them, every Madrasi is dark and ugly. Every language is a jalebi. In fact, Kannada is Kannad, not even Kannada. So that kind of it's kind of ignorance is what I would say, that they think the entire world revolves around the Hindi belt. Even in office meetings, sometimes in corporates where I've worked, and in association meetings in Shantiniketan, I have seen people veering off into Hindi, automatically assuming almost that everybody will speak the language. I don't blame them, because here the place that I live in is primarily dominated by Hindi, about 70-75% of them. But look at some of the recent fights that have happened. Tamil Nadu versus imposition of Hindi, right? This happened a few months back due to national education policy. The fight has been going on. I don't know what came of it. Then you had fights between Karnataka and Tamil over language issues. Mainly it was due to Kaveri in early 2000s. Uh, I've been living here for close to 25 years, so we can trace through a little bit of history. They were beating vehicles which had Tamil Nadu registration at some point in time during the kidnapping of Dr. Rajkumar. A lot of buses were burnt sometime even recently. So this fight was happening for a long time. And then Karnataka also had issues with Maharashtra over Belgaum and the border areas in which there is a lot of Marathi speaking population, which is now part of Karnataka. And then you had Maharashtra, which I think Navana Sen or MNS, what is it called? Yeah, MNS or something, Raj Thakre's party. They, in fact, kind of poor people working in banks and other similar institutions, right? What is all this? Why do you beat these people up for not even speaking the local language? Now, I've been living in Karnataka for 25 years. My mother tongue is Tamil, and I'm quite proud of my mother tongue, as everyone should be, for that matter. Now, it doesn't mean I disrespect any other language. I speak Kannada. I learned after coming here. For the first couple of years, I didn't, but after that, I slowly started speaking and learning the language. But it is more of a personal choice for me to get by the basics, or let's say get by my life. And in general, I'm interested in learning new languages. When I lived in China for a year, I learned Chinese a little bit. I carried a dictionary, so I used to speak as much as possible. The same Indians, when we travel to Germany or even study, let's say, medicine in Russia, we learn Russian and German. So it's not very hard to learn a new language. But is it right? to force someone who's not interested in learning? That's the question that I'm still very curious to find an answer to. And to me, I think it's not justified that you force, let's say you have a bunch of North Indians or Goan people living in Bangalore or Udupi. It's okay if they don't want to learn Kannada and they're getting by speaking Hindi, right? It's absolutely fine, according to me. That's my personal opinion. Whereas we seem to be forcing them. Oh, if you live in Tamil Nadu, you should speak Tamil. If you live in Maharashtra, you speak Marathi. If you live in Karnataka, you must speak Kannada or you go back. What do you mean by go back? Go back where? Are you a separate country? Or you have a secessionist mindset that only is there something written in the constitution that only speak people who speak Kannada should live in Karnataka and only speaking who speak Marathi should live in Maharashtra? There's no law there. It's more of a necessity and convenience that if someone wants to learn the language to mingle with, let's say, the government officials or your auto wallahs and rickshaw wallahs or the bus peoples and regular things that you go by in terms of day-to-day job or in your occupation. If it's required, people will learn, right? But should they be forced? Which is what we seem to be doing. Now, we did see about this Tamil Nadu episode recently in terms of language imposition, but Tamil Nadu historically has been, Tamil has been their pride, right? So they all unite only under that banner. Otherwise, there's like stark differences. Again, in Tamil Nadu have multiple, sub dialects of Tamil. There is a Coimbatore region which speaks differently, and then you have Tirunelveli, which is different. Madurai language is different. Chennai Tamil is different, but they all unite under the name of Tamil. Suddenly, the patriotism for the state will come only through Tamil. Last I think 2 3 months back, I was in Chennai. Me and my family and some extended people. We went to a restaurant called Geetam in I think that OMR Road. And the girl who was serving us, I spoke to her and she spoke to all of us in Hindi. And she was from Northeast, I think Assam or Manipur, one of these places. And my mom said, like, how long have you been here? And she said, like, 3 weeks. And then she said, can you speak in Tamil? And then I stopped my mom and I said, she will learn if she has to. Let's not force her like other people are doing. She was quite thankful because I genuinely felt it must be very embarrassing for that girl who's barely 3 weeks old in Chennai to be able to even learn Tamil and speak. And imagine, she must be feeling a little scared also in front of 10 15 people, right? It's not a very pleasant sight. So I just made sure that we were not belonging to the same category of forcing someone to speak a language if they're not interested in it. It's her choice. If she wants to learn Tamil, obviously she will learn over time, which is not a big deal. And traditionally in Tamil Nadu, I've lived with Telugu people, I've lived with Kannada people. Everyone picks up a little bit of Tamil to get by. It's not that hard to pick it up, right? Now, what happened here in Karnataka in the last few months has been very disturbing, right? I'll share a few Twitter feeds also, which at least the recent one that I was part of. Random incidents have come to light in Bangalore and other areas. There was a post office incident in when someone said there was a lady who was from North India and said, "Oh, I will not fill this form. Talk to me in Kannada." And then there was a railways incident 2 days back in which somebody complained that the TT didn't speak in Kannada, and there were verbal altercations which got into physical assaults. And this is happening on the streets pretty much on a very regular basis these days, right? Where is all this coming from? And the same thing happened in Maharashtra, where bank employees were getting beaten up, or in public institutions and government institutions. And then you had one incident in which one guy was caught in a Muslim dominated area and where he forced someone to speak in Marathi, but Muslims caught hold of him and we saw him almost pissing in his pants after that. Why is it that these people show their paws only to this common man, where you can show off your bravado? It's very foolish, right? Where, like I said, you don't dare question the governors and other people. I mean, how do they get by in this state if they can't speak a local language? Fundamentally, what's the point, right? Like, how can do you think someone will have a love or a respect for a language if you force them? No, it's not possible, right? You just think through it. Let's say you are a Tamilian and then you go to some other state, and let's say you don't know Hindi, but you are in the Hindi belt of UP or Bihar, for example, and if you don't speak a word of Hindi, are they really forcing you, or would you learn it on your own because it makes you feel comfortable to deal with that places, right? And Traditionally, a lot of people from South India have also gone to North India, to particularly to Bombay and Delhi, to other places as part of their job or administrative work, right? They picked up Hindi on their own, or were they forced? I don't know, but I think picking up on your own is rather more comforting and expedient rather than getting forced. Let's see one of this thread, right? I'll just show quickly and then we'll get back. Share screen. Cool. Where is it? Just give me a minute. On desktop application windows. Oh, sorry, guys. It's taking more time. Share. Okay, yeah. So you can see this thread, right? There was some Mohammad Basha traveling from Mysore couple. Stop this nonsense. An overdose. What if someone doesn't want to speak in Kannada, Marathi, Tamil, for example? And then whoever gives public service must know Kannada. And then I disagreed with this person saying, what is this must part? You won't achieve anything by forcing people, right? And then it just goes on and on and on. And what if someone doesn't want to speak in Hindi or English? My parents only know Kannada. Do you expect people? And they're duty bound to serve in Kannada. Stop blaming people, demanding their it's absolute force is needed. We don't turn our states into Bimaru. If any migrant feels learning Kannada or Kannadiga is asking service in Kannada as a overdose, they are free to go back. I mean, of course, even I'm not a Kannadiga, I'm free to go back. Obviously, everyone is free to go back. Be it private or government service involving customer interactions, they should serve in Kannada in Karnataka. Now, this is exactly what I personally have a problem with, that you necessarily will not achieve anything by forcing people. It's obviously great that I get to interact with Kannadiga people in Kannada because I can then connect better with them. I don't have a problem, but it's my personal choice. How is it fair that you're forcing anyone to speak in Kannada or Tamil or a language that they are probably not interested in? Why would you do that? And why would you then tell them go back if you don't speak the local language? I don't agree. I think at some stage, one of the interesting things that I saw was I last week I was watching a movie called Kala Pani, in which Mohanlal is seen arguing with the doctor and his wife, and the wife, Mohanlal talks about patriotism, freedom from Britishers, etc. And the doctor's wife says, what kind of patriotism do you guys have? You guys are already so divided, and it is we Britishers who kind of got you guys to even have some common thing going for you. Otherwise, there was 300 plus princely states who were just there's no unity in any which case. And then Mohanlal actually says yes. At some stage, I think we'll start fighting over power, religion, language, but we will have some common angle that is patriotism. I don't see any patriotism anymore. It only comes when there is a fight against, let's say, Pakistan or China in some cases, right? Otherwise, it's all so much, we are so much divided. There is absolutely no way people are uniting on any other common thread here in our country, right? There is either religion in terms of the general category versus every other category, and then you have every state. The only state which I have seen have not fought a lot, some of the states I can think of is I think South Indian state in particular is Andhra and Kerala. They don't seem to, they also love their language, beautiful languages, both of it. Sundara Telugu and Malayalam is a very beautiful language to speak. I don't see them imposing people, oh, you're working in Kerala, you have to speak Malayalam. In fact, they end up learning other languages wherever they go, right? Malayalis are very, very flexible. That so yeah, that's exactly. I was a little incensed and unhappy that when there are so many issues to worry about, this should be the last form of thing that one should even fight over, right? And imagine humans have evolved over, I think, a million or a couple of millions of years, and language itself is probably 40, 50,000 years old, and it was a means for people to just communicate. That's about it, guys. There's definitely feel proud of your mother tongue. Even I'm proud of my mother tongue, just as you should be, or every Marathi guy should be, or a Kannadiga guy should be. That's absolutely fine. But really, what do you get by forcing someone to speak your language when they're not interested in? Does it really help? Think maybe there are better things to learn in life. Cheers.